Hey everybody, Jamie from the Marine Doctors YouTube channel. It's Monday and I'm about to get started on all of this stuff. But before I get started, we need to get started. Fellow shows up with his boat a while back that he'd bought at an auction. And I questioned him out front and I said, or actually not questioned, I told him stuff from auctions usually isn't a good idea. And he said, well, it should be, it was repoed. Kind of looked at him and said, yeah, that's probably even going to be worse because all the stories that I hear are as soon as people know that their stuff's going to be repoed, well, sometimes they wreck it. Anyway, we've been having some issues with his boat, or his engine, I should say. And one of them is logistics, so we're waiting for a part to come in. And the other one is him. So phones every day, shows up every day, asks what we're doing, if we've done anything to his boat. And the day that it came in, I actually started working on it because he said he'd had it at another dealership. That's my soft spot. I like to help people, right? And get them out on the water as quickly as possible. Well, what's happening with this boat, this engine, is as soon as you go to key on, the alarm goes off. So it's a 2015, I think it is, 150 horsepower Merc. Now, the computer says that there's a horn output failure, which means that a sensor is out of whack, the ECM is buggered, or there's a bad ground or something. Something's going on that the ECM doesn't like, and it's trying to alert us to the problem. So we're able to actually run the engine, and when we run the engine, we find that his oil pressure sensor says 127-ish degrees. So whether it's running or if it's the key on, that's the problem we're having. So I took the sensor out, I tested the sensor works. I popped a different sensor in, completely different sensor in that still works with the system that I'm able to hook a pressure tester up to so that I can manipulate the pressure, watch my computer, and see if the value changes. Well, lo and behold, it doesn't. So that means that somewhere along the lines, there's a break in the wiring. So I set it aside because, well, I've got other projects I need to get done for people. And he comes in and he's, well, have you done anything? And I explained to him what I've done. And the next day he comes in, next day, and calls and so on and so forth. So I finally stumbled back out and I test the wire. Well, I tested the wiring harness and noted that it was broken. So then one morning I got up and I went out and I bypassed the broken wire, hooked it up to my computer again, taking time out of someone else's chance of getting out to the lake. And lo and behold, the ECM didn't report anything going on. So we've got good sending unit, good wires going into the ECM, and the ECM is just twiddling its thumbs going, I don't know what you're trying to make me do here. So I let him know this the next time he comes in, and then he starts telling me about this friend of his that knows all about wiring. And the first thing that goes through my mind is, oh God, please take this to your friend if he knows all about wiring, because I'm sure he knows more than I do, right? So I've been at this for 40 years. Like, okay, maybe there is someone out that knows a couple tricks or whatever. Fine, have him do it. Great, take it, please. I've got other stuff that I need to do, and the headache of you back and forth all the time, pulling me away from jobs, that'd be fantastic. But you can't say that to people, right? No, of course you can't say that. Anyway, I get on the horn with Mercury and I'm talking to Mercury about this problem I'm having, and they said, well, may need a new ECM because the ECM just isn't taking the data and utilizing it properly. So what they're going to do is they're going to send me out a used ECM, if they have one, to try on this boat. Well, fantastic. So at this point, that means that logistics is out of my hands, right? I can put the boat back in the corner, I can wait for that part to show up, and when that part does show up, I can try it in the engine. So as it turns out, the Merc rep unfortunately didn't have one, and he had to drive to the service school to get one. So again, it takes time. We don't have transporters yet. It's not Star Trek days. So all of these trips and all of these getting ready to sends and all of these other things that are going on are taking days for this thing to get here. Meanwhile, customers showing up and he's barking down my throat saying I'm not doing anything, or implying that I'm not doing anything to help him. And like, dude, It's out of my hands. I've done what I can for now. I have to wait for that part to come in. Well, where is it, he says. And I said, well, I don't know. Let me take a look. I got a tracking number. I'll look it up and I'll see. So I look up the tracking number and I said, on one day, it's supposed to be here on the 18th. So that was last week. So on the 18th, he's at the door. And of course, where's the part? Well, it's not here. And well, where's my part? You guys, again, you're doing nothing to help me. You're just doing nothing. You just give me the same answer every time. You just don't know. So again, I grab the tracking number, I look it up, and it says it's in Surrey, BC, and there was an error made in shipping. It said it was in Surrey, but there was an error in shipping, and they sent it to Vancouver Island. I'm on the prairies. It's nowhere near where I am. So, well, make some phone calls, he says. Well, the phone call is going to confirm the same thing that we know. It isn't here, right? I'm sure that they don't know much more than we know, or what we can read off the internet on our tracking information that we have. So we take the time, we make the phone call, we find out the mistake that they'd made, and they sent it to Vancouver Island. So, well, when's it gonna be here? Well, it's the weekend, so probably Monday or Tuesday. So we were informed by the shipping company that it's gonna show up on Tuesday. So that's tomorrow. I'm waiting for this guy to show up today. But what I'm really getting at is people, they just don't have an understanding of, once you place a call and you order something, it's out of your hands. Me calling and harassing people and so on and so forth, because I did send texts off to the Mercury, hey buddy, customer kind of wants this. Did you send it? Got a reply. Yes. One word, yes, not yep, not hey, yeah, it's on its way. It's yes. In other words, I'm pestering this guy and he's doing us a huge favor by sending this out for you, and you're still barking at me about this whole issue. Like, I just don't understand. Or maybe I do understand. I get it, you're missing part of your summer, but on the other hand, you also went to an auction and you bought yourself a boat and had another dealership work on it that couldn't fix it, and then you drop it at my door and expect some kind of miracle. Yeah, you've heard good things about me. One is probably patience, right? I finally got to the point the other day where I had to leave the front because I was just getting so irritated by this guy coming in constantly and barking at us about this stuff. It takes me a lot to get to that point, because usually I can just talk to people, calm them down, explain what's going on, because they have an understanding. But some people just come in and they're bullish, right? That's how they get their way. And, I like coming to work. I like what I do, but sometimes I just don't like people. Well, I like people, just perhaps maybe this guy. I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry guys, but a bit of a rant. I had to get that off my chest. Logistics, ordering things, once they're ordered, just keep in mind, it's out of whoever's orders its hands, right? It's now someone else's problem to get it to your door. Anyway, I'll see you guys next video. Thanks for watching.